The deserted streets of a dying town bake under the last breath of the Texas sun. The distant roar of motorcycles slices through the silence, thunder rolling across cracked asphalt. A biker gang moves in formation, black silhouettes streaking across the amber light. Leading them is Connor Ravenhays, hardened by bad choices, haunted by worse regrets. He rides with the weight of the past on his shoulders, scanning the road ahead with cold, calculating eyes. Then a sound cuts through the rumble, faint, almost human, a whimper. Connor raises a fist, a silent command. Engines die, the world goes eerily still. In the middle of the road, a German shepherd lies motionless. Blood mats its tan and black fur, its chest rising and falling in shallow, labored breaths. Connor swings off his bike, strides toward the dog. His normally stone-cold expression softens just barely. Around the dog's thick neck, a black vest. Lettering catches the fading light. K9 unit, Connor kneels. The dog's eyes crack open, filled with pain, but also defiance. This wasn't just any dog, this was Duke, a cop's partner. And something was very, very wrong. Act 1, Ext, deserted street nightfall. Connor runs a hand over Duke's collar, his fingers brushing against something small and metallic, a camera. Its red light blinks. Still recording, Connor presses a button. The footage plays, a chaotic blur, flashing lights, roaring engines. Duke racing alongside a patrol car, gunfire erupts. A black sedan swerves into frame, masked men lean out of the windows, opening fire. Duke's handler and officer yells commands. Duke lunges toward the action with fearless determination, then impact. The camera jolts violently before the screen cuts to black. Connor's stomach knots. This wasn't just a random attack, this was an ambush. A distant wail of sirens pierces the air. Raven, cops are coming. RICK, a senior gang member, calls from his bike, his voice urgent. We gotta go, men. Connor doesn't move. His eyes stay locked on Duke. This was a line in the sand. Walk away, let the cops handle it, or get involved. His gut already knew the answer. Rick, get the van. Rick's eyes widen. You serious? Connor just stares. Rick curses, peels off to retrieve the van. Connor lifts Duke into his arms. The dog's blood soaks into his leather vest, but he doesn't care. Duke's eyes lock onto his, trust, desperation, a silent plea, don't let me die here. Flashes of red and blue streak across the pavement, patrol cars, screeching to a stop, guns drawn. Freeze, put the dog down, and step away. Connor doesn't flinch, the footage replays in his head. Whoever ambushed Duke's handler was still out there. And Duke was the only one who could lead them to the truth. The van roars onto the street, doors swing open. Now, Raven. Bullets tear into the pavement as Connor sprints, diving into the van. Rick slams the gas. As the city lights vanish behind them, Connor holds Duke close. He was now a fugitive, for what? He didn't know yet. But one thing was certain, there was no turning back. Act 2. Int. Hideout, abandoned garage night. The Iron Vulture's hideout sits deep in the woods, hidden from the world. Connor lays Duke down on a makeshift cot, checking his wounds. Rick paces, furious. You got us in deep, man. We're criminals now for a damn dog. Connor ignores him, pulling the camera from Duke's vest. This isn't about the dog. He plugs it into a battered laptop. The footage flickers to life. This time, Connor pauses a single frame. A license plate, partially visible. That's our lead, he mutters. Rick shakes his head. And what? You think the cops'll help? We're on every watch list they got. We don't need the cops. Connor shuts the laptop, stands. I know someone who can trace it. Ext, downtown, rundown tech shop, late night. A flickering neon sign reads, Gizmo's Repairs. Inside, a wiry man Gizmo sits amid a graveyard of dismantled electronics. Well, if it ain't Connor Hayes, thought you were dead. Connor drops the laptop onto the counter. Need you to run a plate, Gizmo smirks. Back to your old habits, just do it. Minutes tick by as Gizmo types furiously. Then a result, the plate belongs to a shell company. Owned by Dominic Kane. Rick's face darkens. You're shitting me. Dominic Kane, arms dealer. Mercenary, Connor clenches his jaw. If Kane wanted Duke dead, it wasn't just about a drug bust gone wrong. It was bigger. Act 3. Ext. Hideout night. The distant hum of an engine. Connor freezes. Kill the lights. Rick flicks the switch. The garage plunges into darkness. A black SUV creeps up the path. Doors open. 3 men step out. Armed, trained, professionals. One calls out, his voice casual but deadly. Hand over the dog and we walk away. Connor crouches beside Duke. Not happening. A beat. Then, flashbang. The garage explodes in chaos. Connor lunges, taking the first attacker down with a crowbar strike. Rick bashes another with a wrench. Gunfire rips through the air. Duke weak, but fierce snaps at an attacker, sinking his teeth into an arm. The remaining mercs fall back. Their leader glares at Connor. This isn't over. Then they vanish into the night. Connor kneels beside Duke, gripping the dog's fur. We need answers, he mutters. Rick wipes blood from his knuckles, and we need them fast. In the distance, headlights appear. More are coming. Connor exhales, his eyes steely. Then let's finish this. Fade to black. Conclusion. Blood and loyalty. The garage was in shambles. Broken glass littered the floor, the scent of gunpowder still thick in the air. The iron vultures stood in silence, their knuckles bruised, their breath heavy. They had survived, but just barely. Connor knelt beside Duke, checking the bandages hastily wrapped around the dog's wounds. The German shepherd let out a low whine, but held his gaze, his trust in Connor unwavering. Rick ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. We just made enemies with people we don't even know. Over a damn dog. He shook his head. Tell me this was worth it, Raven. Connor's grip tightened on the damaged camera in his hand. Whatever was on this footage had cost good men their lives, had nearly gotten Duke killed. And someone out there wanted it buried. We don't back down, Connor said, his voice like steel. Whoever did this, they're not just coming for the dog, they're coming for us. Rick let out a bitter laugh. Great, so what now? We wait for them to try again. Connor stood, his expression cold and unshaken. No, we go on the offensive. The gang exchanged looks. They weren't just outlaws anymore, they were in the crosshairs of something bigger, something ruthless, and the only way out was through. Duke let out a soft bark, as if sensing what came next. Connor smirked, rubbing the dog's head. Guess you're one of us now, buddy. The rumble of engines filled the night as the iron vultures mounted their bikes once more. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about payback. And they weren't stopping until they found the truth.